welcome to Community Forum. My name is John Guglieltino. I'm your host. This evening I have Gary Goncalves, the candidate for mayor of Danbury, with me once again, second time this season, and he's going to give us an update as to where he is in his campaign. For those that haven't seen him before, he's going to introduce himself for the first time. Welcome to the show once again.
Thanks,
Gary.
John. Appreciate you having me on. It is just said, my name is Gary Goncalves. I was born and raised in Danbury, attended public schools. You know, for the last 30 years, I've worked for a company called General Reinsurance in Stamford, Connecticut, is where we're headquartered. It's a Warren Buffett Berkshire Hathaway company.
That was one of my questions, whether or not you ever met him.
Oh, I've met him several times.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
In fact, if you go up to my Facebook page, you'll see that I have a picture with him.
Oh, okay.
He's a very down-to-earth guy, but it's a major reinsurance company in the world, and I'm a vice president of global finance. You know, again, we talk about why I'm running. I believe that I have the credentials and the corporate discipline and rigor to do the job as mayor for the city of Danbury.
Okay, and you're a lifelong...
I'm a lifer. I was born here, and most likely will, we'll stay here.
Push daisies here.
Exactly.
Okay. So, how's the campaign going since the last time you were here, I guess a couple months ago?
A couple months ago, I think, John. Things are going extremely well. I mean, we've got a very good campaign machine put together. As you know, I mean, what I've done this year a little bit differently from other candidates in the past is I have my own campaign headquarters. So, you know, it gives us a better and bigger Democratic footprint on Main Street. Also gives us some spillover space and additional phone capacity. And I have my own campaign workers making calls every evening, as well as the Democratic Town Committee has their people in making calls. So really, everything that I'm doing and everything that my campaign workers are doing is kind of gravy as compared to past years. But I thought it was very necessary to do this year, coming in facing a four-term incumbent, and you know, coming in, really for the first time for elected office. As I said, I'm not a politician. I am just an honest guy trying to make a difference, but I've got 30 years of political experience in the corporate world. So.
Right, and you have carried on global campaigns before.
Oh, well, exactly. I mean, when you can get the Germans to agree to things, you're doing pretty well. But
that's
the other aspects, John, of the campaign are going real well. We're speaking, as you know, at breakfasts and lunches and dinners and all kinds of civic organizations and multicultural fairs, multicultural events, and of course, there's the vast door-knocking campaign that we've.
I was going to ask you. You've been in every ward now.
I've been in every ward and
up and down.
Up and down. You know, I've been to several thousand homes myself, and my campaign has been to another several thousand, and that doesn't account for what the town committee and the other candidates on our slate have done as well. So we have really engulfed the entire city at this point, and I got to tell you, we're having a very, very positive reaction to not only my campaign, but the strong slate of candidates that we have running this year in a resurgent Democratic Party.
What are the? That's good to know. What are the biggest issues? Let's put it that way. The biggest issues that are.
You know, there's a number of issues out there, John. But I think in my mind, I think, you know, again, if I had young children, I'd be very concerned about education. As we know, you know, our CMT scores, you know, are not very good as compared to a lot of other communities in the state, and although they crept up a little bit this year, we had a mass early retirement, which really, you know, I feel changed the face of our public school system in Danbury. We had a lot of people that took the early retirement, a lot of great tenured teachers, and teachers with, of course, vast experience. So I think that's going to be tough. I think the class sizes, you know, although the administration may say that they did not increase, I think from what I'm hearing from students in these schools, the class sizes have increased, and in some cases, I've heard instances where if you're the last student in, if you're the 30th student in, you're actually sitting on the floor because all the desks are taken. taken. So, I mean, to me, that's a big concern of mine. As you know, I worked for a global company. I've had occasion to visit, countries around the world where their children are very bright, very educated, and competing with our kids for jobs in this country. So, I mean, to me, it's number one on my hit list. The other areas that I'm very concerned about and reasons really which caused me to run are the increased tax burden on our citizens. We've had 8 straight years of tax increases under this administration, and we've had, this administration has bonded $228 million. And the mayor likes to talk about the net number. I don't care about the net number because if we're not paying it to the city of Danbury, we're still taxpayers paying it to the state. And by the way, a state that is Republican run and is $8.5 billion in the hole.
And they've done the same thing in 2 successive governors,
exactly.
Both Rowland and our current governor, Jody Rell, have bonded all kinds of debt into the future. Someone in the future is going to pay for all this debt, and that's very dangerous. So you're saying the same thing has happened here. It's how much of an increase is that over? Roughly over what Mayor Eriquez left us.
I don't have the exact number there, but it's a staggering amount. I mean, this mayor.
I think he had about 70 million or something, or
something like
million,
that,
and he's gone up to 200.
Well, 228 is just what this administration has bonded.
Right.
So again, we're paying that debt over a 20-year period, and this year alone in the current budget cycle, $13.8 million of our current year's expenditure in the budget is going to pay long-term debt, and that is expected to go up as other things kick in and we bond other things.
There's some of the other stuff that he tried to do with the charter. Did that come up in your door-to-door?
No, I really don't think
the city clerk and that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, in fact, you still find the people that are very confused about
what actually did happen.
What is the city clerk? And again, to people in the audience who may not know, the town clerk handles licenses and things like that, while the city clerk is really the administrative aid to the Common Council. And one of the charter revisions is to call that position really an administrative aid.
And the keeper of the records.
Keeper of the notes, minutes, and agenda items. It also has responsibility to get those things out for public scrutiny, within state statute guidelines of time frames.
Okay.
And the other thing there, John, is the bonding, the amount that the mayor is going to be able to bond in a single year without going to the taxpayer. Taxpayers has increased to $2.5 million. As you know, they were looking for $5 million a year, and again, I'll remind everybody that another proposal in this charter revision was 4-year terms for the incumbents in the council and the mayor. And again, that would have given a sitting mayor, 4 years at $5 million a year. So a sitting mayor could have bonded $20 million without going to the taxpayers of the city of Danbury and asking, in a referendum. And to me, thank God that was reduced to $2.5 million. And
but still, that piles up. That's still $10 million.
Well, the term limit was held at two years.
No, I'm saying over the course of 2 terms.
Exactly.
But that's true. It was kept. The mayor's term was kept at 2 years. So the damage, the possible damage is $5 million.
Sure.
Right. That's true. You've had you were in the press recently. You've been in the press a lot lately, but the specific one that got some talk out there is the mayor pretty much ducking almost public debates or public discussions. He seems to cater, and he's done this in previous election, cater to going to the Chamber of Commerce where the people coming to the event have got to pay, and that's okay, as opposed to having a public event where people just can come and listen to a debate or just having questions asked of both persons in each other's presence, so there could be a rebuttal with no payment. And well, no, he's too busy. He's running the city for those events.
Well, let me clarify that a little bit, John. We both received the letter from the League of Women Voters. Went out on September 10th, so he had plenty of time to respond. I know they did forward him a second letter, so you used the word duck. I will say that he is ducking me in a public debate. The chamber, as you said, is a during the day event, which is difficult for the general public to attend. It is $45 a head, which again, in this economy, is very difficult for the general public to attend. And here came the League of Women Voters, a very storied organization who is all about fairness in elections, and the Portuguese Cultural Club who stepped forward and said you could have our facility for that evening, free of charge. And again, the PCC can hold hundreds of people. So again, I challenge the mayor to join me in that debate and any other public debate that is offered to us. I don't believe speaking in front of the police and fire unions and PTOs are sufficient for what I consider a very pivotal time in this city's history. So.
It's ducking any way you want to look at it, because he doesn't want people to understand where he stands on things. Let's see here. We also have fundraising. How's your fundraising been going? Because that's crucial at this in elections, and this is a difficult time. But I've been hearing things also, that things are not so rosy on either side so much as far as. But I know you're doing fine. So go ahead.
John, it is a difficult year to fundraise. Obviously, with the state of the economy, you've got so many households, or at least one member of the household has lost a job. It's very difficult, but we are staying ahead of our bills, and we've got a number of events coming up. We've raised a significant amount of money thus far, and I know the mayor, quite honestly, is having difficulties, just as we are, or any candidate in this election is having in this particular election year. But we've got a big fundraiser coming up this Wednesday night. Of course, you're familiar with Ned Lamont.
By the time this airs,
it'll be, well, yeah, we've got a big one with Ned.
You could tell, with Ned Lamont.
And actually, we've got, in addition to other house parties and things that I have coming up, meet and greets and so forth, we've got another significant event. The 50s doo-wop group In Harmony, well, they have, agreed to do a benefit performance for me at the Palace Theater on October 13th, and, that should draw quite a crowd, and it's a tribute that, again, it shows the confidence that people have in my campaign and in me. So I'm very pleased about that. So we're doing all the needful things as far as raising money goes, and people, despite the economy, have been generous.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear, because an economy like this usually slows things down.
It's tough.
So,
yep.
And anyway. How's the rest of the ticket been doing? I know they're out there walking and talking, and they're on the phones. Anything you can add?
Well, I'll tell you, and I've said this before, and I mean this, and people who know me in the listening audience know that I'm a straight shooter, and if I don't mean it, I would not say it. We've got a very strong slate of candidates this year, as I've already mentioned, and we've got people. It just seems that this party is resurgent. This town that used to be such a Democratic stronghold, I believe, is headed back in that direction. We've got very energetic candidates this year who are going out, knocking the doors, which, in an election really needs to be done. As you know, John, being a past council person, direct voter contact is key, and there's a number of ways to do direct voter contact, direct mailers, calling people on the phone, but, nothing takes the place of a door-to-door, and seeing people up close and personal, and getting them a chance really to see you and where what you stand for, and just getting to know you a little bit on a personal level, I think, is very, very important.
And what do you got coming up in the next, let's see, how many weeks do we got? We're down to weeks.
Just counted, I think there's 35 or 36 days left,
It's like counting the Christmas, right?
Exactly. Well, the thing is, again, we've got, we're going to be doing the bulk of our mailing, in this campaign in October. I've got, I've been taping video pieces, and people can visit my website at www.likegarymayer.com and see not only my press conference, but a little bit of a bio piece on myself. we're going to be out knocking doors right up until Election Day, and we're going to be attending events just as we have doing, and trying to find any opportunities to speak in front of people that we can. And you know, as you know, having been a candidate, fundraising every day. So we're doing all the needful things. We got a great team behind us.
Every day, you try to avoid Sundays, but a lot of times even a Sunday falls.
Well, yeah. I knock doors on Sundays.
Yeah.
I try to catch people in their home, and again, you know,
Yeah.
I catch the
That's a
NFL
big-
scores now as I'm going door to door, so I can keep up with the games.
You got them on your Trio or your
Your TiVo?
PDA or...
Well, believe me, I don't miss much, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, so switching gears here, we were talking before the show on some of the other issues. You know, the mayor always likes to point out and say, well, he's left the fire department in such great shape, or the police department, and there's a grant that came in from the Obama administration to do roads. We could talk about any one of those, but I have a question.
Sure.
On some of this road money that came in, how come the road by an empty piece of land downtown was paved rather than other areas of the roads that could have been paved? You know, I think it was at Rose Street, or the road that runs over to Rose Street.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a brand new paved road there. There is some road paving going on, but that was not a logical road to pave in view of the ruts and things that we have other areas.
If you were in the current administration, you might disagree, because actually Rose Street is where all the parades emanate from.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
you know, making sure that looks good for you know,
for the
especially
parades?
in an election year, is an important thing. And again, you know, so people don't be are not confused. It's the normal amount of election year paving that's going on. But frankly, up until this paving has been done, it's the worst road conditions I've seen in this town in my life's
Lifetime.
tenure here. So it's just awful. And again, I point to 8 years of tax increases and all the bonding we've done, and you know, for that we've got a decrease in city services. And the mayor likes to talk about how his fund balance is the most healthy that it's ever been in the city's history, but the fallacy of that is that, you know,
He needs that, right?
The fund balance has to be between 5 and 10% of your total budget for the year to maintain your
Credit
bonding rating. And the fact is that he's increased the budget from $149 million to $202 million. He's needed to prop up that fund balance as well. And again, as I've said, on the backs of the taxpayers of this community.
Because those taxpayers don't have those dollars that are going into that savings account, because that's what the fund balance
certainly
is.
not.
You know, so that's got to be at a certain level in order to keep the
Right.
the rating up at
So-
the AA rating or whatever it is.
And as I've said, it's a tax and spend administration that's been in power for 8 years, and it's time for change.
Right. Now, any question on? I know there's some issues with public works or any other particular areas that
Well-
you'd like to make some comments about.
You know, I think there's a lot of things out there. I think there's a lot of things out there that this current administration has tried very hard to keep under wraps, certainly till after the election. I brought one thing out in my press conference the other day, the lawsuit against the city, 3 civil service applicants who were passed over in the exam, although they were at one time or another higher on the list than some of the people that got the job. They're suing the city, and the city is very much exposed to a big settlement there. That case has been continued, conveniently enough, until after the election. And we also have another lawsuit that's facing the city in the Danbury 11, where, again, the mayor came out and made false statements that the police department was not involved with that, and his police chief subsequently was interviewed under oath and said, yes, we were involved. In fact, it was one of our officers who was driving the van that picked up these folks. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of
Exposures.
things behind the scenes that are not coming out. It's not as rosy a picture as he portrays, and he's portraying it that way for a reason. And again, I think I question the mayor and his administration and why they've done some of the things they've done. In my mind, it's because of their own self self-interests and not to the interest of the community of the city of Danbury and its citizens. So I think it's, again, time for change, John.
Do you have any comments about the garbage situation, aside from the fact garbage always stinks?
Well, garbage is a dirty business,
yeah.
and to me, I don't like. I think the mayor is starting to realize now that the costs to take over that property and do what he wants to do are going to be much more than he first figured. And again, with the economy down, recycling charges and the money coming in is not what might have been thought of in the first place. So I think those things are being looked at again. And again, I believe the HRRA should be, the authority who is sanctioned by the state to look at our, trash recycling, and I believe that we should be in concert with the other towns that comprise that consortium, and we should all share in the expense and we should all share in the profit. And Danbury is a 35% participate in that governing body. So that's the way I would handle that. But I don't know which way it's going to go at this point in time.
Have you heard any other complaints about maybe land use and how that's going? In the past, there was always complaints, or too slow on approving things, or overly, like the big things go through very quickly, where the small guy that's trying to put a porch on his house has got to go through hoops to get something done.
Well, I've heard those rumors, but I think two things in regard to land use. I think, first of all, the 13 acres on the west side that we have, I think the mayor's intention, from what I've seen from the ad hoc committee meeting, is to put maybe a small 400-seat movie theater there and then some boutique shops, and I'm dead against that. I think it's time to bring in some corporate businesses and give our citizens the opportunities for more quality jobs. I think the last thing we need in this town is another theater. The other thing is we took over the Taylor Farm for $800,000 as an open space vehicle, which is great, except if you've been by the Taylor Farm at all, it is very in need of repair. The structures on that property are in very bad need of repair. In fact, they are in very disrepair. And if you look at an aerial photo of that property, you'll see all the excavation that has been done there where soil has been removed. So, again, I don't know if $800,000 was the right number for it, but it seems like a lot of money to me based on the condition of the property. And conveniently enough, Don Taylor is running with the mayor on his slate of candidates. So, again, I just have to wonder sometimes and scratch my head in the hair that's left on it as to what we're doing here in this administration.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think we're about even on that, on the hair left on the top of our head. Speaking of things that are in disrepair, how about over at the golf course that we have on the west side, the structure there that seems been delayed, the music Richter musicals
theater, yeah, I think it's in need of repair, and
I'm saying that he's been going slow and slower, the two speeds that he's operated on there.
I think the issue too is, again, you look at the budget and the money that's going out elsewhere, and there's just not a lot of money to be spread around now, and I question the expenditures that this administration has been making. And again, my big deal is, Richter House is one thing, but keeping educators in the classroom is really my biggest concern. And when you look at the spectrum, you've got senior citizens on one side who've been paying these and incurring these tax increases, and they're on fixed incomes, and then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got children in schools that are going to be suffering because of this too. And the mayor looks and says, well, you know what, you got a Democratic administration on the school board, and it's their problem. No, I don't believe so.
Well, the funding comes from the mayor and the council.
The funding comes from the mayor, and frankly,
and the council.
And the council, but if I am elected mayor, the buck stops with me as mayor of the city of Danbury. I'm not going to be blaming other people for my downfalls.
Especially since they're more administration as opposed to the funders.
Exactly. They can only do with what they have.
Right.
And the truth is, John, and this is the first time probably in city history that the school board budget was not increased with local tax dollars. And again, we got to do as much as we can to ensure a quality education for our children and the best quality education that we can possibly provide. Because competition out there in a global economy is very stiff.
Yeah, and when we were growing up, the jobs were, oh, my son just moved to the West Coast. Well, in the future, a well-educated son or daughter will be working in China, in Europe, and in order to get those jobs, they need the best, the best of educational resources that are available, and not to scrimp on things.
Exactly, John. And I'm always of the opinion that I don't care how we, compare to other communities. I know test score-wise we're not doing as well as some, but to me, in any endeavor that this administration or the city of Danbury takes on, we should be the best we can be. And so I don't care if we're doing well in particular areas. I'm all for, as my corporate upbringing would suggest, I'm all for trying to raise that bar and be the best we can be in everything we do.
Now, what's your website again?
www.electgarymayor.com.
Okay, so send your any emails you have out to Gary, and he'll respond.
You can contact us through the website.
Within 48 hours you'll respond, or?
I'll do my best to respond. I think I've been fairly good about it. People have been, I've gotten a lot of requests for signage through my website, and I've been doing my best to comply.
All right, so the sign campaign is going on, too.
Sign campaign's going on.
That's the sign of the times, so it usually starts October 1st. Any summary you want to give? We got like 30 seconds left.
No, I mean, John, I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show again. I think I've been consistent in all my themes in this election cycle, and I encourage people to go out to my website. We have updated content out there, and we've got some interesting video for people to know a little bit more about us and feel comfortable with us. And I'm looking forward to an interesting election day on November 3rd. And again, just remind people that we've got a great slate of candidates this year, and it's time to make sure you get out and vote.
They're waving goodbye to me, so thanks for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to the Community Forum. Tune in next week, same time, same station. It'll be an interesting program. Good night now, and see you then.